Hey y'all, Tiffany Boy with Free Your Children here. I have the amendment right here in front of me. I hope my phone don't die. I was trying to charge it, but I can't leave it charged in and do this at the same time. So I am looking at the wording right now, and on page 4, the amendment says, does not mean a homeschool as defined in Tennessee Code Annotated 49.63050 or a virtual school as defined in 49.16.203. So they have made that clear in the amendment. However, there are other things that I wanted to speak to everyone about in this amendment. This one that I'm reading right here, at the top of the page, it says amend Senate Bill number 1194, House Bill number 1214 by adding the following new sections immediately preceding the last section and renumbering the last section accordingly. So I just read from that portion. Then there's another portion, and it is, I'm pulling it up right now so I can read it to you. There's a portion in this that really concerns me regarding parental rights. So again, I said earlier that I'm going to be asking when I testify tomorrow that this bill be killed. And even though they have amended the homeschool wording from this, there are other concerns with this. One huge concern I have is that I don't think, maybe you can tell me, those of you who are watching this video, if the actual amendment has been uploaded to the site where the public can access it right now. Right now, even if it's uploaded right now, that's less than 24 hours for people to be able to review this and study this. So that's a concern, because there's really not enough time, in my opinion, to be able to comb through this. Okay. To comb through this and do the appropriate research. It's just moving entirely too fast. But when you look at this amendment, I think it's on page 6. Let me scroll down. I'm reading while I'm doing this. It lays out who is considered at-risk youth. Yes, it's on page 5. So it says, funding for a public charter school authorized pursuant to this subsection must comply with Tennessee Code Annotated 49.13.112. Number 7, as used in this subsection, K, at risk means students who are A, economically disadvantaged, as defined in 49.3.104, members of a family with a household income that meets the eligibility requirements for free or reduced price lunch as determined pursuant to 42 U.S.C. 1771. At risk of educational disadvantage due to circumstances of abuse, neglect, or disability. Well, that's concerning right there, because so would disability include a child that has been diagnosed with ADD, attention deficit disorder, or attention deficit disorder with hyperactivity? So would they be lumped into this category? Or a child that has anxiety or depression? So that right there, that wording is concerning. At risk of state custody due to family dysfunction. And then we get into E, chronically absent as defined in Tennessee's Every Student Succeeds Act plan established pursuant to the Every Student Succeeds Act. And F, truant after having accumulated 5 or more unexcused absences or who have previously dropped out of school. So I'm going to stop right there for a moment, because over on Free Your Children a good while back, I shared about legislation that I was concerned about, which dealt with legislation that sought to limit the ability of parents to be able to remove their children from public school, especially if that parent was facing legal issues due to truancy. So I see this same wording right here in this amendment as well, which is concerning because I just hung up the phone just a few minutes ago with Patty Hunt, who is the director of Chestnut Ridge Academy. That's a CRS, a church-related school, an umbrella school. And we've talked about this extensively when I had posted about that particular legislation and had encouraged parents to contact their legislators about this. My concern was there are parents who get kind of brought under the ire of the school system because their children have accumulated 5 or more unexcused absences. And I've spoken about this because there are some children that have medical issues and they are going to miss 5 or more days of school. Not everyone takes their child to school to the doctor every single time they're sick to obtain a doctor's note. Not every parent has private medical insurance where that's covered. If your child has a virus, a lot of parents don't take their kids to the doctor when they have a virus because an antibiotic's not going to work for a virus, and they allow the child's immune system to heal that on their own. So Patty was sharing with me that she sees parents that enroll in their umbrella school in Chestnut Ridge Academy because of this very issue right here. Well, according to this amendment, these children would be considered at risk. Okay, so that's one thing that I have told our legislators before is we have to be really legislators, the government has to be really careful. Their job is not to be a surrogate parent. And I was told when I was speaking to a representative about that particular piece of legislation that this legislation was written because there are parents who pull their kids out of school and they say that they're homeschooling them, but they're really not homeschooling them and they're not doing anything with them, and they're just doing it to avoid being prosecuted for truancy, okay? Well, we don't make laws for the masses just because of just a few people. It's not the government's job or their right to serve as a surrogate parent and to try to police parents in that manner. So that's concerning. And when I'm reading through all of this, one of the biggest questions I have is who is deciding, who is targeting these at-risk, who's making the decision? Which kids fall into these categories? Who is the person that's or the government agency that's making those decisions? If they've been expelled or have been placed on probation or parole, the commission, in consultation with the State Board of Education, may promulgate rules to effectuate this subsection K. The rules must be promulgated in accordance with the Uniform Administrative Procedures Act, compiled in Title 4, Chapter 5. Section 6, it goes in and it tells the Tennessee Code annotated number, is amended by adding the following as a new subdivision. And then it talks about the plan for the construction, development, or purchase of residential or boarding facilities. If the proposed public charter school intends to provide a residential or boarding program for students pursuant to Tennessee Code Annotated, it gives the number, including a copy of all required permits, certificates of other documentation evidencing the sponsor's ability to secure, provide, and safely operate the proposed residential or boarding program. So the biggest concern, and then, it goes on, and I'm sure it soon this will be made where everyone has access to this. But it goes on to say that this amendment, these charter schools are to serve at-risk students in grades 6 through 12. And another very concerning part of this amendment is it says the membership of a governing body for a public charter school that serves a student population composed exclusively of at-risk students in grades 6 through 12, and it gives pursuant to code annotated number, is not required to include a parent representative. And an advisory school council established by a charter management organization for a public charter school that serves a student population composed exclusively of at-risk students in grades 6 through 12, pursuant, and it gives the Tennessee Code annotated number, which is 4913-106, K in parentheses is not required to include a parent member. So my opinion on this has not changed. I still feel like this particular amendment is gross government overreach. I feel like it is a threat to parental rights in the state of Tennessee. I'm still going to be asking that this bill be killed. They did amend the sections that dealt with homeschooling, but I've warned about charter schools in the past, and this is one of the reasons why I have warned about this. Number one, the original 13-page amendment directly attacked homeschooling. It was targeted. It was directly targeted. Then, of course, we've spoken out so much now that they have removed that wording, but I am still extremely concerned about the wording that remains that, in my opinion, is a direct threat to parental rights. So I still do not feel like this bill needs to be there. I think, my opinion is that the bill needs to be killed. I will share this over on my Free Your Children page so that you can access it and you will have the ability to read through it. Has anyone else received access to this and been able to look and read the most current amendment? I've got some folks that are watching, but it is a concern. And like I said, they did remove what they said that they were going to remove. But now we're getting into, there's still a big issue with parental rights concerning this particular, what this bill is trying to accomplish. Has anyone else had an opportunity to read through it? I'd like to hear what your opinions are if you have. So this one that I'm reading now is 10 pages. And this is what stands for the vote tomorrow. I will highly encourage you all, if you're coming tomorrow and you're going to be in the committee room prior to this vote, that you read through this so you'll have a good idea of what it says so that you can have a conversation with those representatives that are on the education committee. Again, my opinion of this is that the bill still needs to die. And of course, we just discussed why. I still have a whole lot of questions regarding this, even though they've taken out the homeschool sections. And I hope that parents, if this were to pass for whatever reason, which, I'm going to ask that it be killed, but if it were to pass and move forward and they were actually legally able to institute these public charter school hybrids or these public charter school boarding schools, I would hope that parents know what they're getting themselves into and read through this thoroughly, because this particular entity not giving parents any ability, they have no representation at all, is just egregious in every way, shape, or form. And it really concerns me within this amendment of who they are stating is at risk. It's just extremely concerning that the state of Tennessee would even consider this. And with this type of legislation is what we have to continually make sure we watch and remind our representatives that it is not their job to serve as surrogate parents. That's not their job. Anyone else that's on here, if you've read it, let me know what you think. I'm going to get off here in just a minute and see if I can post a link to this so you have access to read it for yourself. And then I hope you'll post in the comments and tell me what your opinions are about it. So I'm going to try not to do any more updates tonight. We'll just plan on meeting tomorrow at 11 o'clock in Cordell Hall, building 6B, meeting room 6B, 6th floor. And we will just come prepared to have a great conversation with our representatives and explain to them, why we think that this bill needs to be killed. Thanks for the link. I'll look for it. Yes, I'm going to be putting that out there so everyone has the opportunity to be able to read it for themselves. And like I said, give me your feedback. I'm looking at the amendment now, okay? Tiffany, there's the link that I have, there's the old amendment, and then there are two other different documents. The one document that I'm looking at currently is the 10-page document, and it begins, I believe, on page 4. Or 5. Yeah, it begins on page 5, number 7, where it actually explains, oh, okay, no, this isn't the same one. Okay, I will try to see if I can get these links over on the Free Your Children page and on the event page. One of them is more detailed. The other, are you looking at the amendment, Tiffany, that is 6 pages? Yes, Crystal. I did say that the homeschooling language has been removed. So the language that remains is just very concerning, because there are concerns about government overreach and concerns about an infringement upon parental rights. Okay. I can't click on that one while I'm on my phone, or I'll lose you. But the one that I'm looking for is actually on the capital.tn.gov apps dashboard calendar link. And so it has the amendments that are listed here. There's another one. I haven't looked at this one. Let me see. This one is 6 pages. Okay, public charter schools. Okay, and this one, same thing. It says, as used in this subsection K, at risk means students who are economically disadvantaged, members of a family with a household income that meets the eligibility requirements for free and reduced price lunch is determined pursuant to, and it gives the number, at risk of educational disadvantage due to circumstances of abuse, neglect, or disability, at risk of state custody due to family dysfunction, chronically absent as defined in the ESSA plan established pursuant to the Every Student Succeeds Act, truant after having accumulated 5 or more unexcused absences, or who have previously dropped out of school or expelled, or who have been placed on probation or parole. Agreed. Thanks. I'll be looking for the updated amendment. So that is language to me that is still very concerning regarding this bill in general. So when I did a live earlier, I've done lots of lives. Sorry about that, guys. I feel like I'm probably maybe oversharing or giving you all too much information. But there's a lot of reasons why this bill is concerning, and I said that before. Obviously, when this first started, it was because of that they were specifically targeting homeschooling. That wording, from what I can tell from the amendment that I have read through several times and read to others, it looks like they have taken out all of the wording that addresses homeschooling. But the problem is it still does not alleviate the aspect of the fact that the wording that remains and the wording that has been that is there now in the current amendment, it still is there's issues in regards to them overstepping their governmental authority in terms of the rights of parents. I haven't seen an updated amendment that I'm aware of. Okay, yeah, we spoke about that. Okay, this is only 3 pages and yeah, that March the 8th one is the old one. That one's the one that's still on the website. That was the one that I kept watching earlier and trying to refresh the page, and it was never updated. So this link was given to me by one of our representatives, and I was able to get in and look at it, and I'm going to try to share that. So I can't, it's already 6:15, and I'm assuming no one has found a public link to this amendment. Is that correct? Those of you that are watching, you haven't found a public link to the amendment? So what I'm going to do now is I was waiting to read the amendment before I put together my verbiage that I'm going to be using when I testify tomorrow, because I wanted to make sure I was as succinct and thorough as possible. And now that I've seen the amendment, I will know exactly what to address when speaking to the committee. So this is what I was waiting on, and I know that lots of you that have been watching this event and watching the Free Your Children page were also waiting on the amendment, so that's why I decided to get on to share it with you now so you don't have to wait. Let's see. Okay, so Crystal is saying no, she can't find a link to this information anywhere publicly. So I will try to get this out to everyone. If you have questions, let me know. I'll try to answer them to the best of my ability with the knowledge that I have and the conversations that I have had. But like I said, tomorrow I will still be asking that the bill be killed on behalf of homeschoolers in the state of Tennessee, because no matter if we're homeschoolers or our children go to public school, we're still all parents. And part of what Free Your Children does is, I not only seek to try to make sure that we are making sure that our homeschool freedoms are protected, I also want to make sure that our parental rights are protected and they're not infringed upon. And I really feel like this bill does that. It infringes upon parental rights. And, like I said, I have concerns. I would really like to know who is making the determination as to which students are at risk and would fall into a category that could even be placed into one of these hybrid charter schools or boarding schools for that matter. I hope that any parent, like I said, reads, every parent, no matter if your child's homeschooled or goes to public school, that you read through legislation like this and bills like this and amendments so that you can see exactly what they're saying, exactly who they consider, according to this amendment right here, would be considered at risk. So that's what it looks like. I'm very thankful that the representatives that we spoke to and made it clear that we didn't want homeschooling lumped into this in any way, shape, or form. I'm glad they listened. And I was told yesterday that an amendment was coming and that they were going to do this. And they did what they said that they were going to do. But it still does not alleviate the fact that originally homeschooling was targeted in the state of Tennessee, and it took all of us doing all of this to get it removed. And now what remains is still very concerning in regards to parental rights in the state of Tennessee and the threat that it threatens parental rights. It's still not good enough. This needs to die, in my opinion. So that's where we are with this. Like I said, I'm going to end this live, and I want all of you that are following this event and for your children, when you get an opportunity, read through the amendments, and then we can discuss it in the comments. Comment your opinion, what you think about all of this, what your opinion is regarding who they are saying, according to this amendment, is at risk. And I hope to see everyone tomorrow. This is a very good example of why we all need to stick together and how we can accomplish things when we all work together. We still need to be there tomorrow. Like Representative Sapicki said this morning when I spoke to him, just because an amendment has been introduced does not mean that it's going to be passed. So we need to be there to make our lawmakers, our representatives, understand what our position is on this and what we expect them to do, because they work for us, and we need to let them know respectfully that we appreciate their hard work, but we also expect them to represent us because that's their job, and that we really feel like this bill needs to be killed. This bill, in my opinion, is not in the best interest of the children of the state of Tennessee. And that is my opinion on this in a nutshell. I do not feel like it is in the best interest of the children in the state of Tennessee or the parents in the state of Tennessee. Whether you homeschool or you're public school, I just think it's a bad, slippery slope and bad legislation, a bad amendment. So I'm going to get off here for the night. I hope everyone has a good night. I will see you all tomorrow. Remember, like I said, just because this is the amendment, they still have to vote on this, and we still need to be there so that they can understand, what our position is on this. So I hope everyone has a great night. I'm going to try not to get on here again. I've been waiting on this all day. If I'd had it earlier, I would have added it to one of the other lives that I did, but I just now got access to it. So I hope everyone has a good